Hey guys, welcome back to the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. We're your host, Aisha Shelton.
And Kevin Shelton.
I usually say Kevin's name first.
Switch it up.
Because you're the head of our household.
Oh, here we go with your bullshit.
Just kidding. I do always put your name first, though.
I am the head of our household.
That's true.
But whatever. Your name starts with an A. My name starts with a
K. But we're K and A, not A and K.
That is true. Because AK is like, no.
Sure.
I hate when we have weird moments on the podcast.
I do, too. On today's episode.
Does house hacking really work? Tune in. Dun, dun. No?
Yes.
All right. I think we've been out of we didn't record last week, so we're out of it. Like, we need to jump back in the saddle.
Okay. And we're in. So go.
Okay. Does house hacking work? Aisha, what do you think?
Way to volley it back to me. Does house hacking work? Yes, it does. Depending on your situation. Now, if you got 8 kids and you're trying to house hack.
You cannot house hack. That is house hacking. You got 8 kids. No matter what size house you have, you're house hacking.
That's probably not the best situation. But house hacking, I feel like, is good for some people. You know what? If you got 2 kids, it might be hard to do a little house hack too, unless you want everybody.
I don't know if house hacking is good for people with children.
No, we have some family members that house hack with children, and it works just fine.
They don't house hack in their internal home. They have a duplex. That's not the same.
That's a house hack.
That is a house hack, but okay. So then let's clarify.
Let's talk about
does house hacking work? Depends on your house and what kind of house you have. Like, I'll give you an example. We live in a house that's a townhouse style house. So we live upstairs, and when our oldest daughter's not there, nobody's downstairs. So we Airbnb'd it until we had our first younger baby, maybe. Yeah, no. And then once everything got crazy, we stopped house hacking. But that was good. It, paid a quarter of our mortgage to rent out a room.
It did. So tell the people what house hacking is if they don't know.
All right, so let me define it. So house hacking is you rent out the additional rooms in your house to create passive income, also to offset your expenses like your mortgage, your light bill, lights, gas, electrical, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's house hacking. So when you're house hacking, you can be Airbnb-ing a room or your physical couch, right? Like that's how Airbnb got started, couch surfing. It can be you share a room with a roommate. It can be you rent out a garage apartment. Anything that you can rent out within your space, even people house hack garages, right? Like they created a platform where you can rent out other people's garage space. Mm-hmm. That's a form of house hacking. So literally, if you're making income off your main home, your homestead, that's a form of house hacking.
Yeah. So in my opinion, I feel like house hacking is very good for like single people.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't have no kids, it's the perfect opportunity to house hack. And I've met, and it's just a good way to offset expenses. I think very savvy young people do this. If you have an income that you can afford a house, yep, and bringing in roommates to rent out the other room, you can essentially be living for free.
That's true.
Especially you set the price, right? So you can say, you don't have to tell them what your mortgage is, but if your mortgage is $1,500 and you split that in half and give it to the other 2 parties, I mean, it's just a win-win all around. All your money stays in your pocket.
You're like, hey, my mortgage is $1,500. your whole thing, like your half is $1,500. Your whole mortgage is $1,500. Like, what you want me to do?
I mean, depending on where you stay. I have actually a condo that is under contract right now for a client of mine, and it's like the perfect house hack situation. And if I had an extra, I don't know, what was it, $190 I'm under contract for, if I had an extra $109,000 laying around, I would totally buy it because it's like the perfect roommate style condo. It has an ensuite bathroom and a common living area. In each area, and a common living area with 2 parking spaces.
That's when you tell the tenants, your rent is $1,900. Your rent is $1,900.
And it's like right in Midtown, right? And it's an excellent spot. It's not the most beautiful.
It looks crazy.
It's not the most beautiful, but I feel like it's perfect for like foreigners, right? Like students who come into I'm telling you, foreign
'cause it
students who
looks
come
like
into
places from other places.
That's not what I was thinking. That is not what I was thinking. I was just saying they don't have as high standards as Americans have, right? Like if you got a room and a bathroom and you conveniently located to your school and stuff.
You know, a lot of people listen to this in other countries.
I know that. The point that I'm trying to make is Americans are entitled and they need their spaces to be like nice and fresh and new and like, but most people from other countries, seriously, if you've ever worked with the foreign population, you would understand that they don't have a lot of requirements on their living spaces. You know what I'm saying? Is it useful? Is it convenient? Does it serve it serves a purpose. It's for living. Anyway, that's an excellent like house hack situation. And even when this person owned it, she had a roommate that paid, I think, all of her rent because it was very cheap because of the amount that she paid. So it was already very cheap and she got somebody to come in and pay and whatever. Anyway, I think when you're single, it's a great investment to buy something.
Definitely a great investment.
And rent it out to your friends or even other students that come in.
No, and you know, I think all the craze right now is being an investor. And that's why duplexes are so hot because people want to be able to house hack. So imagine if you have a duplex, you're a single person, that duplex has 3 bedrooms, you have a whole nother side that has 3 bedrooms, and you rent it out all 5 rooms to other people instead of like one side, you could be making a killing. If you rented out all 5 rooms for like $700, $800 each, man, you could be killing it.
I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, we have some affordable houses, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're a single person that is in an affordable price range, you have good credit, you could buy a house that we've built, a brand new Park Street home, and house hack the heck out of it because all you have to do is make it your primary residence.
No, some of our existing owners have roommates. That's house hacking. The house hacking ain't nothing but roommates.
No, right. It is. It's true. But I'm just saying, like, I know there's stipulations on affordable housing and what you can and can't do. Like, you can't buy an affordable house and then rent out the entire house.
But if you live there and you have a roommate, you could definitely do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. My mind is blown. What else? There are also builders who are building Airbnb-able properties where you have a separate entrance. So they have maybe like a townhouse style house and there's a door downstairs that's the main entrance and then there's a door on the side that's like a side entrance that gives you access to like a bathroom and everything. But I think that it's an excellent way to offset expenses, to save, to invest. So if you're a really savvy person, or even if you're not and you hear this podcast, if you have children for that matter, right? Because your aunt did this. Whenever her kids went to school, to college, they bought a house. So
yeah, they bought basically an apartment building.
Okay.
And rented it out to people. So there was a deal in Florida at the time that if you bought a property for a college student, there were certain tax benefits. So they bought like a 6-unit and rented it out to all our friends. It worked out really well. It was a great investment.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Like, imagine if we did that for our kids. Like, they sent them off to college.
It's a fantastic
and bought an
investment.
apartment building. Was like, all your friends could stay here for money.
I mean, and then they manage the apartment. It's a fantastic thing.
It is. I remember when you told me that story, it was like a light bulb for me, right? I was like, oh,
this is how you do it.
We are totally going to do that.
Buy an apartment building
for our kids. Even if it's not an apartment building, even if you bought a single family house wherever they live.
You didn't go with us to Eleanor's graduation in New York, in upstate New York, but she lived with 4 other girls in basically a single family house. I think it was like a 3 or 4 bedroom, and literally each person was paying like $700, $800 a month. The house was not great. The house did not look great. It was trash. But the benefit to the landlord was, hey, you got a bunch of college students. They gonna tear it up anyway. It don't have to be nice. And I mean, it was not nice.
Slumlord much?
It was an old house. And upstate New York has a lot of old properties like that, but they did not renovate this house. They did nothing.
But I think our temperament and our appetite comes from like a Texas perspective, right? Like in
Texas, used to room and space.
Yeah, we have a lot of space. We have a lot of room. But in other parts of the country, like,
that's not a thing.
You'd be happy to get a little square.
You think about like places like New York where they have some apartment buildings that have common restrooms. right? Like imagine having an apartment on a floor and then you go down the hall to the restroom like a dorm.
Ooh.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So here's some things that I think people ask us that I'm curious to get your opinion on camera, because we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. But like, you want to get into investing and you want a house hack. Do you recommend it for families?
No. Just because families are so dynamic and there's so much risk in that, right? Like if you have kids and you have potential strangers living in your spaces, your kids could be vulnerable. Just me as a parent, I wouldn't be comfortable with that, because if it's just me, I don't have to worry about what the next person's doing. Mm-hmm. But if it's me and small children, what if somebody hurts your kid? What if somebody touches your kid or something like that? And those are kind of the extremes of it. But it could be family, right? Like, and maybe house hacking to family. Like, I would live in an apartment with my cousins or something. Like, if I had kids and my cousin, let's say I had a kid, my cousin had a kid, and we shared an apartment, and we had 3 bedrooms. So when his kid is there, they're in that extra room. When my kid is there, they're in an extra room. So they effectively share a room. And then me and him split the bills. That would be an example that could work.
It's a very detailed and intricate example there, Kevin.
I'm a detailed and intricate person.
So I'll tell you, and I think we've given this story before, but I think it's kind of fun to tell when we tell it. So we did house hack our house and it's like Kevin said, it's a townhouse style house. So our first tenant, our first Airbnb client was a travel nurse, right? So no, it wasn't. It was the guy.
The factory guy?
It was a factory guy.
It was a factory.
Somebody from God knows where, Texas.
He was from Dallas.
Okay. He was from somewhere, Texas. And he worked for a company that had a factory in Houston. And so he would come for a couple of days and then he'd go back home. Yeah. And so he rented our room. He did not look like me. Okay. But he was cool. He did his thing. He went to work early in the morning. Yep. He would come to the house. He would sleep. He would shower. Super cool. He would do it again. We didn't talk at all. We didn't get to know one another. Nope. We exchanged a little bit of small talk when he first came. Yep. And I think he came back maybe twice, 2 or 3 times.
That was a sweet spot because our daughter comes on Fridays. So he would stay Monday through Thursday.
Well, we also set those parameters. We set the parameters. We did.
That's true.
We set the parameters.
And that worked out perfect for him because he'd go home on Fridays after work.
We set the parameters so that we would not have a guest in our house when our oldest child was at the house. Okay. And so there was that. Then there was a travel nurse. Yep. And whenever she came into town, she stayed with us.
And she stayed however she wanted to because she was a girl. It was bathroom, hair, crazy.
But she was probably one of my favorites because she was easy and sweet. And
so it's funny. I have to tell this part of the story. So one time we went out of town and the same travel nurse, who was a regular guest at this point, had to find other accommodations. It was a mess to the point that she called Aisha crying saying, "Oh my God, I'm staying in this other place. It's horrible. Please, can I stay at your house?"
She said it's cats everywhere.
I'll pay double the price.
Like cat piss.
I don't care if you're not home. Can I please stay in your house?
Yeah. Did we let her stay?
We did.
Oh.
Because, she literally had a horrible... You were, on the phone with her for, an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
She was crying. She was like, this is so horrible. They lied. The picture said it was something else. I'm over here. I can't stay here. I have to find...
It was the middle of the night, too. It had to be midnight. 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. Okay, so we had a good experience, right? Okay, cool.
Also, we're pretty clean, general people. We have a really nice guest room that's well stocked. We have a refrigerator, microwave. There's nothing that you wouldn't need, and it's independent, right? You're not bothered. So you have your own TV, you have your own internet. We're not coming down there, blah, blah, blah.
Let me finish the story.
Go ahead.
All right. So it was really cool. We had 2 great experiences. And mind you, we had just had a baby, right? So, but our living quarters are separate from whatever. And then we had that one guest that shut it all down.
And if we've told this story before on the podcast, forgive us.
It'll be short. I'll make it short and sweet. Anyway, so we thought a very sweet girl was coming to stay with us.
Ooh.
She booked, and when she showed up with a little boy.
Now, it was a same-day booking.
It was a same-day booking.
And we typically don't take
We never took same-day bookings because that usually means...
some bullshit.
Definitely. Okay. So we took her, and she shows up. She gets dropped off in an Uber, and she shows up with like a little boy, which wasn't quite mentioned, right? And so we're like, oh, hey, we as welcoming as we were to the other great guests that we've had. And anyway, so she comes and we set her up in her room, and then we go, to our own living space, and she's downstairs. Well, while we're upstairs, we hear this beating on the wall.
Yeah.
And screaming, loud screaming. I was like...
Now, to preface it, the little boy with special needs.
The little boy, but we didn't know that.
We didn't know that at the time.
We did not know that.
And she introduced him as her little brother when it turned out to be her son.
We don't know what the hell he was.
Okay.
Okay. And so anyway, just imagine being in your home with strange guests, and that's happening, right? So Kevin and I are debating on like, what are we going to do about this? Like, what do we do? So we go downstairs and knock on the door. Is everything okay? Oh, yeah, it's fine.
No. Hold on. Before that, though, she asked you to take her to Walmart.
She didn't. That wasn't before that.
That was after. Okay.
That was after. So we go downstairs and we're like, hey, is everything okay? She was like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It was not fine.
No.
So we go back upstairs, and it's again screaming, beating on the wall. Boom, boom, boom. So she calls me and asks me to come down. And I go down, and she asked if I could take her to Walmart. Now, it's about 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And I was like...
No, we don't do that.
Let me talk to my husband. And that's when I determined that she had to get the hell out of my house.
And look, so, A, we don't do that. B, she was like, we need food or something. It was
let me
just
tell you
a mess.
something. Okay.
Then it gets worse, though.
So I was like, oh, let me talk to my husband. And so that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, I don't know who the hell she here with and what's going on, but she got to get the hell out of my house right now. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and she could not stay with me. Okay. So anyway, we decide that we're going to kick her out. Mm-hmm. And so we knock on the door and ask if she could come out and have a conversation with us. And she gives us this whole crazy story about how she was supposed to be coming to Houston to meet family. Nobody picked her up from the airport.
Her family alienated her.
She lost her wallet. She ended up having to stay with her Uber driver who picked her up from the airport. That's the
same Uber driver who dropped her off.
Which is the same Uber driver who dropped her off. Turns out she finessed the Uber driver into letting her stay with him in his house.
Yep.
He was so tired of the sister and the little brother, that he booked the Uber under his name.
Booked a Airbnb.
An Airbnb under his name for them to stay somewhere else.
He was trying to pass them off to us.
Which is how she ended up in my house.
But we sent our ass right on back.
So anyway, I really did feel bad for her. And I also have a friend who owns a assisted living daycare, and I tried to find accommodations for them in that arena, and nothing was working out. But I was like, sis.
And in the meantime,
you can't stay here. Hold on. I know what you're ready to tell.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I was like, sis, I don't know what you're going to do, but it cannot be here. You got to find yourself something, and we will help find you some resources, but you can't stay. Okay. So in the meantime, Kevin, go ahead.
He takes off all his clothes and rubs his penis on our furniture.
He did not. That's not how it happened, but that was a very colorful way to explain it. So we're talking to her in the front. He runs out of the room that they were staying in, butt ass naked, and he rolls around on our cocktail ottoman.
That's not rubbing his penis on our furniture?
No, he was naked and he just sat on like furniture and rolled around.
He rolled his naked penis out body on our furniture. What are you saying? And then it gets worse. So we have a brand new baby. And we have a baby gate.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't have food. He's hungry.
Yes.
All we hear is, hungry, hungry.
And he kept charging up the stairs. Oh, my God.
Storms up the stairs to come, I guess, get food. And we had to stop them several times at the baby gate. He broke free of her several times at the baby gate. I'm like, yo, you got to keep this guy downstairs. We had an alarm clock in the guest room. He completely dismantled it and destroyed it.
Yeah.
He broke something else because he was banging on the door and banging on the wall. They were only there for maybe 3 hours.
Y'all, she pleaded with us to let us stay. And I was like, ma'am, I have a new baby. I don't think that this is going to work. Right. So she called, she's like, I don't have anybody to call. I was like, you need to call the man who dropped you off.
Jesus. You're going to have to call Tyrone and Jesus.
So anyway, it's not funny. So it was so stressful.
So we ended up calling the guy who dropped her off. He picked her up and took her back.
He did. He tried to bargain with us. I'll pay y'all double. Like, what is it that I could do to help? I was like, you could help by coming to pick her up.
Hotel room for them.
Okay. And then on her way out, you know, she was appreciative. She thanked us and everything.
Oh, yeah. Left us a great review.
Left on her way out of the door. As they were loading up, I go to check the room, and she left his little, I don't know what it was, some gaming system.
Something.
No, it's like a little switch or whatever.
Yeah, something. But
and I said, wait, because you're not coming back here, ma'am, because I know I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, it didn't matter. That was crazy, and that's what took us out of the house hacking game.
Out of the house hacking game.
It did. It did. However, if you have good people. I also have another good friend. She was single. She lived across the street from the universities, Texas Southern and U of H. And she had 3 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. She stayed in one. She would always rent out 2.
She had crazy people too, though.
Yeah, but they were like her friends. That's the thing.
That's true.
When it's just you can kind of get to know people and the ups and downs of their lives.
Be up all night.
I swear one of the girls was a prostitute. I'm not playing. I think this was just a landing space for her because baby girl.
And one of the dudes was foreign. He kept he'd stay out all night. He drank super crazy.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember the Italian guy?
Yes.
Yeah, we had this couple once, boy. We had an Italian couple come stay in our room. They didn't leave the room. We had to burn those sheets.
All they did was hunch all day and all night.
When I tell you those sheets were disgusting.
Was it?
Oh my God.
I didn't even look. I didn't do that.
Drizzling. It was
Ew.
absolutely burned sheets.
That's why, and that's why I can't stay in Airbnbs. I need to be in a hotel where I know the stuff gonna get fixed. I don't care what happens in a hotel. I understand that. I understand what happens in a hotel. The point that I'm trying to make is...
But you don't know if it's going to be happening in the Airbnb.
There's protocols. I don't know what protocols you have. You get to make your own protocols when you're on Airbnb.
That's it. So that's why you don't want to stay at
I'm not
Airbnb.
interested. I'm not interested in it.
Okay. We just got to get 2 hotel rooms.
This was supposed to be about house hacking. Did we talk about it?
We did.
Okay.
We talked about the good and the bad things. The good things are, all right, we're going to give you 3 points. Here's the 3 points.
Why you got to do that? Here's the 3 points.
Because I was also stretching them. I told you I had to stretch. All right. So here's the 3 points. If you're going to house hack, here are the 3 best benefits for house hacking. One. It can offset your rent and bills.
Alpha, delta, beta. Okay, go.
Alpha, delta, beta.
I don't know it. Do you know it?
What's the C? I don't know what the C is. There?
You know what? Don't worry about it.
Anyway, 1. It can offset your bills, your household bills and utilities.
Expenses, your household expenses.
Household expenses. Mm-hmm. B. I keep saying B. Sorry. Number 2.
We don't know how to say that.
What?
Yeah, I don't know this.
And the board says 2. 2. Number 2. House hacking can be extremely adventurous and profitable, but you want to look out for what the downsides could be. Mm-hmm. And then 3, it's a great way to get started as a landlord and get started kind of interacting with people. So it teaches you the skills that you need, the same skills that you need managing rental property. So those are the 3 benefits of house hacking. But other than that, we've had our experiences. Now we just landlord outside of our house because we have a family and we ain't doing all that.
And our life looks different. I feel like, for example, if you're like older and you're single, house hack. It's also a great way to get to know people. I feel like my friend who house hacked to the college students, like she made some great relationships with people that, you know, she had a fun time with. So if you're adventurous and open to that kind of stuff, and don't be closed-minded. I've also met people who are like, I don't want nobody living in my space. I'm like, girl, okay, well, pay all them bills then.
I mean, look.
I'm just saying, like, this is my personal space. Okay, well, just pay all the bills and stay in debt, whatever, it's cool. And if you savvy, then come house hack like the rest of us.
Well, you pick, you choose, but house hacking does work. So this has been the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. I'm closing out this week. Good night.
Bye.